I'm told the number one fear people have is speaking in public. It's the one fear I don't have. Join me for the Love Speaks series, where we leave fear behind and we speak love. Loving our story, loving speaking, doing what we love, loving each other, and loving ourselves. Our stories are what connect us and make us better humans. So join me and my Love Speaks friends for some stories, some laughs, some inspiration, some speaker tips, and some unexpected truth. It's the Love Speaks series, where a little bit of love goes a long way.
Welcome to the Love Speaks series. Here's your host, Sally Lou Loveman.
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be in the studio today with a good friend of mine who I've known a long time, and just every time I see her, she just makes me so happy. And today we're speaking about something that isn't always so happy, right? We are speaking loss with my friend, Barri Leiner Grant. Hi, Bar.
Hi, so good to be here with you.
Bar's from Jersey.
Jersey.
And so she's Barri at home, and she's Barri here.
I've been here so long. I'm Barri, for
You're
sure.
Barri. You are also a stylist, a writer, a self-proclaimed vintage and flea market junkie.
Oh, boy.
If you could see what she's dressed in, y'all. I mean, she's too cute. She's a Jersey girl, which makes me love her even more. And she is the founder of The Memory Circle. We met at the Oprah Winfrey Show when Barri was in the audience for a show we were taping with her friend Nate Berkus.
In the 90s.
The 90s were so good, although the 80s were better. And we've been friends ever since, and our paths always seem to cross, and I'm happy for that. Barri uses her story to help others with loss and is on a mission to heal and help the bereaved in the most beautiful way with the launch of The Memory Circle. Please welcome my one-of-a-kind friend who is always looking for the one-of-a-kind treasure, Barri Leiner Grant. Hi, Bar.
Hi, Sal. So good to be here.
I'm so happy to be here with you. And you know what? I'm so attracted to women who are just in their passion and their purpose. And first of all, we're going to get to that about the Memory Circle. But tell me, how is love speaking to you today, in this moment of today?
I connected with my yoga teacher this morning. She's such a dear. Her name is Amy Owen, and she and I exchanged one of those conversations that you don't expect to happen. And
Unexpected. Oh, isn't that beautiful?
It really was.
I see your tears.
Connecting mamas. I know, because
I have the
it's
chills.
so rare that we're that vulnerable. And I have found the more and more we are and the older we get.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a moment.
Vulnerability is like a cozy blanket. It just is so beautiful.
It's where the learning lies.
It is. It's true. It's true. And then when you can just like suddenly connect with something and go, oh, I get it now, and help someone connect with that.
That's how it's always been for me. The more I share, the more I connect.
Well, I'm totally an open book, so much so that I wrote a book. And trust and believe there's a lot I left out. So that's the unedited version that you get when you know me. But I love that about you. You're very open. I definitely know you have a huge spiritual side, which is why we're going to talk about the Memory Circle. And, I was just before this podcast, I was telling Barri about how I recorded with my mom here for Mother's Day. And I got real weepy at the end. And I just said, what a privilege it is to have you in my life at 87 years old. And because I know a lot of my women friends and men friends don't have that. Tell us about your mom.
My mom passed away, sadly, very unexpectedly in 1993. So it's been over 30 years already. Right. And she's, as you know, everybody seems to know her. I mean, we call her Grandma Ellen. She was never a grandma. She never knew I even had children. Right. And she was present at my wedding. And she passed away when she was just 50.
Right.
So she was a force. I mean, everything I know, I feel like I know from her. And even though it was such a short time that she was here, it seemed like so impactful. I mean, it's almost as if I go over it and over it, but it seems like she was squeezing the lessons in. It's almost like somewhere you know. Mm. And she passed away at the Jersey Shore at the beach. Right. She took the day off.
She was a real estate broker?
She was a real estate broker. It was really hot, and she decided to just take the day off. There was some expletive in there, taking the you-know-what day off.
I know you like bad words,
We love
which is why
bad
I love
words.
you.
I learned them from her.
Right.
But that day, I realized she had...
How old were you that day?
26.
Okay.
She had a beach bag filled with 2 pounds of Santa Rosa plums, which came but once a summer. They were those juicy dark red in the center.
Right.
She had a trashy novel, which was like her version of a magazine because she ripped through reading so quickly. So that was like her beach day easy read.
Right.
And just peacefully fell asleep in her chair. She had an aneurysm. She was very healthy. She was very vibrant. She was involved in charity. There wasn't a person who came in contact with her that wasn't changed by knowing her, which we kept learning as the years passed, which is such a beautiful legacy
of the circle, right?
Yeah.
I'm going through that with my loss of my dad, so I get it.
When strangers came to the door and just handed me, all the way from Brooklyn to Jersey and said, your mom sold me a house when I was going through my divorce, and I just wanted you to know that she changed my life, but she also taught me to be brave enough to date again and showed me how to wear red lipstick.
Oh, stop it. Okay, I'm not going to get through this.
And there was story after story, even my high school girlfriends that she encouraged in ways that their moms didn't. Babysitters who, she was like their thoroughly modern Millie.
Yes.
And she was such a doer. And when she became a realtor, actually, it was because she and a girlfriend decided that they were going to be the dynamic duo. They were going to job share, which is incredible.
At that time,
stage, I feel like she invented job share.
Let's say she did.
Okay.
I think she did.
So in Red Bank, New Jersey, the two of them shared a business card. The kids would go to one single mom's house while the other was working. And
brilliant.
It really was. And they wrote about them as the dynamic duo in my town.
That is literally brilliant. And it was 1970 something?
Forever ago.
Yeah.
I was in 4th grade. So I think my friends also saw this incredible restart of her life and saw how inspiring it was. She was also so funny and super liberal. And if you sat at our kitchen table, it was open book.
Right.
She chit-chatty. And I think it's different when it's not your mom. But she guided so many girlfriends and babysitters to just find their purpose and be their best self.
Right. How does she guide you now?
I've seen ladybugs since she passed. The first time my sister and I took the kids down to the Jersey Shore, it was winter, and we decided to pull in off of Route 35 into Carvel, which was a very East Coast ice cream shop, and teach the kids all about what that meant.
Right.
And of course, in the car with like sprinkles and shivering, and there was a ladybug inside.
And it's winter?
It's winter.
Right.
So we all take notice, and we open the window as we're, leaving and hoping she finds her way.
Right.
And then this keeps happening.
Right.
On your birthday.
Right.
In her sister's office when it's tax season.
So other people see them.
Yes. We go. It started to happen to my father after he had planted the flowers outside one spring. Yeah, it started... it started sharing with each other when we would have a sighting.
Right.
And then we realized very much that was her sign.
Right. Right. I write about a lot of that in my book because I've had that from the minute my dad passed. It came to me in little strange bees. And I didn't put it together, but his nickname was B. His name was Billy. And I always thought for years my grandmother called him B because that was the first initial of his name.
Right.
But it was really B, B-E-E, because he was always as busy as a bee, moving crazy and fast. And so from the minute, it even showed up, I'm planning the funeral with my sisters and I'm at the church with my clipboard, literally.
My clipboard.
You can't,
I love that.
Even
you can't
in
take
loss,
the clipboard out of the girl.
Even in loss, I have my clipboard. And I'm like, what is this weird bee on me? And it's not... a housefly. It's not a bumblebee. It's the cutest little bug bee that you've ever seen. And it wouldn't leave my clipboard. I shoot it away so many times and it wouldn't. And I saw the same type of bug even in Chicago and continuing.
You welcome that in when you're really hoping for a sign.
Exactly.
Intuitively, I feel like we bring that in. If we're open to it, they'll show us a sign. And you can also ask for them. I tell everybody who's lost somebody, ask. Ask.
And ask before they go. I did that.
You did?
Yeah.
Ours was sudden. So
yeah, you couldn't.
I think some of the most common that I hear are different energy levels. It depends. So it could be a bird sighting. A lot of people see change, money, pennies, dimes, heads up.
Yeah. And numbers on a clock are big
and
for
numbers.
me.
I'm a big 444.
Oh, right. You always take and I'm a 313.
You are?
Yeah. My dad's two favorite numbers, 3 and 13.
I see, I catch my birthday a lot, 1029.
Okay.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I know in that moment, I really take note of what's going on. I'm have an awareness around that.
When I need my dad, it happens all the time. Now, my kids say, Mom, you don't lock your phone. But here's the deal. I have hundreds of contacts in my phone. And when I need and I don't lock my phone. I just throw it in my purse, throw it in my lap, whatever. But when I need my dad, all of a sudden, I see Papa's cell calling. I'm calling it because he's not calling it, right? But I still have it saved.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just look at it and I go,
it's unbelievable.
Oh, hi. Oh, thank you. And the feeling, so we could just trade these stories forever. Yeah. And I'm here to hear your stories, but really, truly, in the essence of time and for the listeners, you have launched something. You've done PR in New York. You're a stylist. You've done it all. You're a writer. You've written 4 books. But in the end, not the end, but in this new chapter, you've taken all of that talent and you've poured it into this thing that really, truly speaks to your heart. It is your love speaks. It is something that happened to you and you're using it. You're using your story to help others, which is the purpose of telling your story. And you launched the Memory Circle, and tell us about what that is and how that can help others who might not be in Chicago, but can be a part of this community.
I started by working with my yoga teacher, Amy Owen again.
The one you saw today?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And we connected because I had this, what they call, it's kind of like making, it's called a sankalpa. It's kind of a resolution, but it has a definitive date by which you will complete it. So I was in this workshop, and I thought, I will make a yoga class for women who have lost their moms. Because my whole life, I keep running into the woman who has lost her mother.
Right.
And I know that it's now hit me over the head after I came up with this idea that this is clearly part of my purpose. I felt so...
Totally.
I felt like I was standing up
so
you. Straight in that moment, like really like...
Mm-hmm. And you're very little.
Yes, but
Did you feel 6 feet?
I did. I just felt like there was something that just felt tall inside. It just felt so
purposeful.
Right. Yeah, really did. And
no fear. When you're in your purpose, you have no fear.
No, and I just thought, I'm going to make this happen. Mm-hmm. And so years in the making. And then following that, I just realized that there was such a need for people to have a place to go that were experiencing loss and grief, and that were very bad about it in this society.
We are.
About talking with others. So if I could make a safe space where we could sit shoulder to shoulder and share our stories, even just speaking the name of the person that you've lost, there's just nowhere to do that.
There's nowhere to do it.
So it was my dream to make it and sort of change the vernacular around grief in general.
Yeah.
That it's okay to speak your story, and it's okay to speak their name, and it's okay to still be grieving no matter how much time has passed, and that there really are no rules.
Right.
It's
and
as unique as the people that we've lost themselves, whatever trajectory that it takes.
Right.
But also exchanging these stories seems to open up, and I believe every circle comes together for a reason. And so the things that happen in circle are incredible. Right. And we've done all kinds of things, because I also think you have to find which way feels best for you. So we've done movement, yoga. We've brought in a medium.
Right. I was there for that.
Yeah.
That was cool.
She's awesome. Revealing Soul. She's awesome. Cindy. And
We'll put her stuff on.
Yeah, she's awesome.
For the listeners.
We have done some writing exercises, which I found very late in the grief game, I have to say.
I need to speak to you about that.
Who has written for work
Exactly.
and written branding and public relations. It took me to read Claire Bidwell Smith's book about the last stage of grief being anxiety. And one of the exercises in the book is actually to write to the person so that instead of on a birthday where I wish my mom could see Emma or Quinn, my daughters, as they're turning a certain age or missing a recital or a concert of Emma's or whatever. That you write, dear Mom.
No, you have no idea.
If you could see. And in the writing, I imagine many things that I wish I had done. I am very sad that I never gave a eulogy. I wasn't really up to it at the time. And I wrote one.
Good for you.
And shared it, which was really beautiful. So I think we explore through very different gatherings, different ways that you can process grief and allow it to move through you and allow it to be in it.
And be in community with it, which makes it even if it's a stranger, suddenly you share a story and they are someone, they're like family all of a sudden, you know?
The people who have not so accidentally sat next to each other in circle, it's magical.
It's never an accident.
Yeah, it's
when
really
people
magical.
Gather, it's never. I even used to say that at the Oprah show, no one's here by accident. Everyone's here for a reason. And it's true. And even in the workshops I do for speaking, it's like no one's there by accident. I will say one thing, you really got me in this moment because writing is... I have found I never liked to write. In fact, I stopped being a show producer because I hated the writing. And now I love it. And I have found that writing is the absolute direct route to healing. Even if it's not a book, even if it's not a blog, just like what you did, writing a letter to the person that has hurt you maybe, or someone you've lost that you love.
Well, there's grief in that too, the loss of a friendship.
Totally.
Also, the people who show up, it's no longer just because you've lost a loved one. Some people come when they've lost a job.
Exactly.
Some people come
Loss
when they've
is
lost
loss.
a friendship. Whatever loss brings you to the circle. And I'm always surprised and yet never surprised that people find their way. When I ask them, a producer from New York showed up at a circle recently, and I couldn't believe she found us. But through this and through this and through this, and all of a sudden they're sitting in circle. No.
I will just say to anyone listening, if you are suffering a loss, the best thing you can give yourself is to write it out.
And even if it doesn't come very easily to you, I think even writing in an imagined voice, imagine what your loved one might say to you in a situation, because it almost makes your body feel as if you are with them.
Totally.
So I love the idea of, the advice they would give you. If you close your eyes and dig deep, it's there.
You already know it.
It's there. You know it. If you trust yourself, you know it.
And so that's the part that you're also doing with Memory Circle, is you're helping people tap into their intuitive sense of self and being, right?
Yes, and I think just walking away with a small piece of writing that you can keep and hold on to. At Mother's Day, it's sort of in the form of a card, whether that Mother's Day card is to yourself or to your mother who's no longer with you.
Right.
Those are the kind of exercises that we share, and then sometimes the writing is shared, and through the shared writing, we find out so much about what's going on inside other people's stories and really how they're processing their own grief or not.
Right. Well, anytime you're in community, that is where the healing happens. So you're writing, you're in community, you have given the world a beautiful, beautiful way to process this loss. How does someone benefit from this if they aren't here or they can't come to one of your circles?
We travel. If you feel like you need it in your area, and people reach out to me through Instagram, which has been the greatest vehicle. I get at least a handful of messages a day at the Memory Circle where someone wants to share what's going on in their life. I also offer prompts where you can share the name of the person that you've lost,
I
or
love that.
maybe a birthday that's coming, or a day that feels hard for you. I mean, it's full. You should see my DMs. It's just filled with friends.
I love
new
that.
friends.
New friends, right. New friends. And have you met any, and you've obviously met a lot of
We
these friends in
have.
real life.
We have.
IRL.
In real life, yeah. We've connected in powerful ways over lunches, one-on-one. I mean, it's just connected me to also be open to people who have experienced loss who did not have the kind of relationship that I had with my mother, which was a huge learning for me as well.
Huge learning, right?
So what do you do if you have remorse or you have regret
unfinished business?
Yes, or you have anger. So that also, I mean, through guided meditation and seeing how that can move in your body energetically is also so beautiful and part of whatever works for you. That's what I think. It's also permission to do whatever works for you, but do process, because when we hold on, we can't move forward with the other things in our life.
Right.
We don't move on.
It makes us really stuck and somewhat sick. Like, it really hurts.
Right.
It hurts. I think that's so cool that you've learned something. How cool is that? That you're like, oh, wait, right. Not everybody's processing your grief of someone who was really good to them or really changing people's lives even 30 years later.
Right.
People are telling you stories. I have the same for my dad, and I don't even, like, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, people don't have that. Let's be mindful of that.
It also made me even love the relationship that I had more.
Even
and
more.
respect, because it was
So
it was
special.
almost like a small blip if you think about 50 years. I mean, when I hit 50 and had to reflect on what if this is all
that was my next question. One of my next questions.
What if this is all I had?
Right. Right.
How would I
Your
live
50th
each
birthday
day?
must have been. Tell us about your 50th birthday.
I did a yoga class.
Of course you did.
I gathered and we did a class, and I actually wrote one of the first ever pieces about my mom and shared it with the group.
Gosh.
Which was really beautiful and gorgeous, and
How old are you today?
such a treat. 54.
Okay, so 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. And how does your work serve you in your relationship with your mom today?
I think when I went to Cindy, the medium that joined me in that event, she shared how happy my mom was about the memory circle.
Oh.
And I thought, she was so proud I owned a public relations firm. Like, there were so many things, and I kind of thought she, as in touch as she was, she went on the boardwalk to Madame Marie, and she had a friend who she used to call the witch, and she was very into, tarot and before her time to me, and open to all of that. But I don't know why I thought she would think it was kind of woo-woo, you know?
Interesting.
And Cindy was like, no, she won't, stop talking about how excited she is, blah, blah, blah. But the final piece of advice was, don't make it sad.
Yeah.
Because I really had defined myself as the sad girl when I would think about the way that I lived with loss, if I brought it up with others.
Right.
And now I feel as if I've made it safe.
Yeah.
Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry. I think we explore all the emotions that it brings.
Right.
But everybody seems to leave with with
some joy.
Yeah, with some joy, with sort of a different, it sits in a different place in their heart somehow when they leave.
Right. Which is so, so beautiful. I need to come to another circle.
Yeah.
I had a little aha moment while I was preparing for this, and I think maybe you've heard this before, but for me it was an aha moment, so I want to share this with you. Your love for vintage is not an accident. I really believe that you collect people, you collect things.
See, she did not. And
it's not because of your mom. It's more because in the era in which you lost her, you want to hold on to some of that stuff. So it's like
total knee-jerk
really
reaction to loss.
Helps you feel a sense of comfort when you have a collection.
Also
of
making
something.
memories. I feel like, hand engraving a date on something or a monogram. It's like an instant heirloom. So there's something so beautiful about creating that. Now, she was a doer. So we were like last at the mall, last at the beach, out to dinner on a school night.
Right. I love her.
I would catch her car, parked at Carvel. I would catch a receipt in the car for like one small O-ring and a Diet Coke from somewhere, and I'd be so...
Wait, I'm sorry. What's an O-ring?
An onion ring.
Oh, an onion ring. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure.
She'd be at like the windmill at the boardwalk or something, and I'd be so happy that, she veered off the path to treat herself.
Right.
But she lived, man. She really... The crazy vacations. In fact, we couldn't find her jewelry when she passed away. It was missing. She just had this little, plasticky yellow jewelry roll with white polka dots.
Right.
And it was missing, completely missing. Huh. And I wanted to feel a connection. Like I wanted to feel something of hers. And we found it behind all the photo albums. And it was almost begging us to look at my life. Right?
Chills.
Yeah, look at my life. Ellen in front of this beautiful, mantelpiece. Ellen in this outfit. I mean, it was like, look at my life, girls.
Wow.
And travel.
Do you see your mom and your girls?
I know that they understand her better because of the stories that I shared. Emmett said to me recently, I forget I'd never knew her.
Right.
So
that's the nicest compliment,
right?
Anyone can give you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I once had to tell Quinn, as annoying as my kisses goodbye are before they get out of the car anytime, that's really why, because we don't really know when it might be the last time we say goodbye.
Right.
And, they look at me and I roll. And
right, of course.
When you have that much youth and vibrancy,
right.
Mom, that's morbid.
Right. It scares them too. But
I want them to be as in touch with, we're also we're great at birth and we're horrible at death.
Horrible.
I've learned so many lessons about being present.
Let's learn about it. Right.
Let's talk about it and learn about it. Every time someone loses someone, I always take the opportunity to write the kind of note where I share with them that this is the opportunity that they can share with their children.
Right.
About how to pass through a loss.
True.
How to move through
modeling.
this.
Right.
Yes. And I always take the opportunity to write that.
That's a great thing to tell listeners. And I just had a friend who lost a mom, and I will, when I write my note, I will think about that, which is great.
And also that at any age,
we're always teachers.
Yeah, but at any age when you experience the loss of a parent, and I know you'll relate to this with your father, sort of a changing of the guard, so to speak.
Complete.
You all of a sudden, no matter what your age, go from child to adult.
Right.
In that moment.
And the loss of both parents. And you've got your dad.
I do.
I've got my mom.
I do.
Grampy. And Nana. Grampsy, sorry.
Yeah.
And mine is Nana. And there is not a moment that I don't pick up the phone and talk to her, or if I'm with her, that I don't get very choked up to just say, I love you so much, and I will be freaking lost without you.
Yeah.
Like literally lost without.
And imagine having never experienced any loss, not really soaking it up that way.
Right.
Sharing the words that you do now.
Right. It's so important. It's so important. And for those of us listening and who don't have those relationships, that is a loss in and of itself. So that is really, really hard. And I always say, just keep trying, just keep at it.
But I also like the idea that you would also learn in the process, whether you've experienced a loss or not, if you have a feeling of not having that kind of a relationship, to mother yourself.
Yes, thank you.
To figure out ways that it feels good, whether that's through a friend, to find other relationships that make you feel mothered.
Right. It's like, it reminds me of Oprah and Maya Angelou. She was so mothered by her so beautifully.
Sistered, mothered,
uncled,
everything. Whatever you got.
Mentored.
Whatever you got.
Whatever
that makes you feel
find
that
your family.
soulful connection.
Yeah, find your family. Oh, I have so many questions. Okay. Is there a piece, since you found the yellow polka dot roll, is there a piece, doesn't have to be jewelry, of your mother's, since you are a vintage collector and a collector of people, that you love the most, that you keep with you always?
I don't know where I had the peace of mind to do this, but I took the sand from her beach bag and I keep it in a Ziploc, and I long to encapsulate it in some way, whether that's through a charm, inside a charm. I need to figure out how to technically do it because losing a grain would, put me under. But I don't know where
I'm shook.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here shook.
I don't know where it came
You have 30
from.
plus years of sand.
I do.
And you keep it in a Ziploc.
In the jewelry roll.
In the jewelry roll.
I do. And I visit it. I have a recording from the old voice message, those mini tapes.
Yes.
Of us.
Like literally we're in the machine.
It was in the machine. And again, just saving that was, I don't know how we remember to do that.
Right.
But we're talking about such minutia. When you didn't pick it up and it kept recording?
Yes.
That's what's on there. An entire conversation of us talking about, and what did you wear to the meeting? And what did you, and what did she say? And what did she do? I mean, it's really minutia. And the beauty was, the lesson in that was, I couldn't imagine how she touched others, did her job, spoke to my sister each day, and was so connected on that level with us. Where did the time come from?
Yeah.
It was almost like some magic.
I think all kids really go through that because I think my kids are just beginning to go, how'd you do it, Mom?
How'd you do it?
Because now my daughters live together and they're like, we work out, and we come home and we're exhausted. We don't have a dog. We don't have children.
Yeah.
We don't have husbands.
How do you do it?
How do you do it? It's so funny. Oh my gosh, okay, first of all, the fact, there's just so much to say. I don't even know where, but let me just say this. My whole body just was in a state of shock is not the word, just like warmth when you said that. And I will say it must have been through DM. It wasn't a conversation, but I think I mentioned something like I'm going to the Jersey Shore because I'm there. I've never had a summer where I haven't been at the Jersey Shore because I grew up that way.
You.
And then luckily for me, my sister has a home there, so I'm always there, and my kids love it like I do, like as if they were raised in Jersey. I'm not even from Jersey. I'm from Philly, but I am like total Jersey girl. I love Jersey, and it's literally my favorite state. And I used to say that at the Oprah show warm up. I'm like, if you were from New Jersey, you were my favorite.
Raise your hand and move forward.
Raise your hand and get to the front. I don't care if you don't have pink on. Just get to the front. And you must have said something because I did it. And you said, make sure you bring some sand home. And I have this little glass bowl that sits on my kitchen counter with a couple pieces of sea glass and a couple shells and my sand. But I will tell you that I think sand evaporates because it's getting lower. I'm like, where is it going?
If you have it in an open jar,
so it's just spilling?
Because I brought home some from Tulum for my first ever yoga retreat when I went. And I brought, same thing, like a little bowl and sand and a few shells. And I keep, some incense in there or something I burn or Palo Santo or something. I just keep that in. And that, I guess that's why I think of it as a memory.
That's what I was, okay. 2 words in your platform, memory, circle. And those 2 words are what we've been talking about this whole time. Creating memories, reliving memories, going back and reliving, going back to the photo albums, keeping that sand. Those things are so comforting at present time when you, need the feeling of that love.
So finding that connection
just
through
community, which is the circle.
Right. But also
brilliant.
Finding it through, some people need to hold on to something. Some people need to talk about it. Some people need to write. So exploring what makes,
whatever
brings
works
that
for you.
feeling. Exactly. Whatever works for you.
Whatever.
Eating a food.
Well,
making a recipe.
Do you eat the Santa Cruz plums?
Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes,
I'm so bad with these things.
And she, you can't do it anymore, but we actually planted one where she's, laid to rest.
Yes.
We have a tree there, Santa Rosa plum tree.
Did it grow? Like, is it good? It's doing well?
Yeah.
We did so many. We put ashes in places no one knew. I'm telling you, my dad's all over the place.
Well, and also,
but you do just sort of like,
I think
you're not supposed to.
Yeah, I think making memories. She was a fabulous shopper. discount shopper.
Uh-huh.
And so we always buy ourselves something at discount on her birthday.
Oh, that's
My sister
cute.
and I have this little thing,
That's cute.
show you at the end of the day.
Right, right.
So whatever tradition and new traditions you can make in their honor or their memory or something that just feels soothing to you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's, going on a trip each year when that rolls around or whatever works for you. A friend said it's the least significant day of the year for me, the day that they passed. So some people feel like the birthday is a great day to celebrate.
Right.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you is
But
the key.
honoring it.
How have you helped your sister get through her grief? Because your sister had loss.
I always feel like that's her story to tell. But we lost my brother-in-law very tragically, and my daughter wrote a beautiful song about it.
Your daughter is a performer, singer-songwriter.
I'm a Jayne. I mean, that's also how she processes. She writes. She's written beautiful songs.
She was named for your mom because Jayne?
She was Ellen Jayne.
Right, but she's Emma Jayne.
Emma Jayne.
Is there an Ellen in any of your girls'
No
names?
No.
But she's Emma Jayne.
She's Emma Jayne. She's EJ, same as my mom.
Right.
And Quinny's named after my grandma, who was an actress. She is Quinn Conrad, and my grandma's stage name was Mona Conrad.
Okay,
she was in
what
the
did
theater.
your grandmother do? I can't.
She was in the theater, and
was
then,
she like a Ziegfeld Folly or something?
Kind of a Follies, and then she worked with all the girls in the high school. She oversaw the show,
right?
And then my grandpa had a trucking company, and at that time he really didn't want the guys to think that my grandma had to work, but she was so into it and really independent woman before her time. She opened a placement agency, and she named it Mona Conrad so that she wasn't using my grandpa's last name.
How? I mean, these women
Powerful
in your
women.
life.
Powerful women.
I mean, there's no question.
My aunt too, my mom's sister, big accounting firm, and she had this crazy love of theater. So she created a firm where she only sees people in the theater. And
so she does their accounting?
Yes.
Oh.
Shows on Broadway. My whole family sort of has like a
And your brother
connection.
works in Broadway. Broadway?
They're identical twins. Both boys work in
you have two
theater.
brothers and a sister.
They're identical. Right. Yeah. Different moms. They didn't have the same mom. Right. But yeah, everyone in theater. And you had asked me if I wasn't doing this job, what I would
you
be.
Do?
I mean, I have a secret. Wish I could sing.
I know. Me too.
Really?
You'd be right there on the stage.
Truly. Every time I see a show, I think, can you just imagine?
What's your favorite show?
Oh, I go often. I just saw the new West Side Story, and my little brother is the stage manager, my brother Matthew.
Yeah.
And I would say, even though I feel like I know the story, I've never seen the story presented this way.
Okay.
I mean, I
can't
see
wait.
so
I wanna
much. Now I grew up where when you turned a certain age, when you were 5, when you're old enough to see a show, per my grandma, you went into the city.
Miss Conrad.
The city.
The city. Only with a capital T.
That's right. And, that was my backyard when I grew up in New Jersey.
Of course.
And spent a lot of time in Manhattan. But we just thought that was part of your life. My uncle was on Broadway, and his name is Bob Garrett, and he is a voice coach now, but he was in Godspell and Grease. And so it's always been part of
your DNA.
Yes, but
it's in your DNA.
The singing parts get me.
That's what you wish.
I do. Emma believes, and so does my uncle, that anyone could sing, but I don't believe that.
I don't believe that. But look at Emma. So tell us about Emma Jayne.
Emma Jayne is a singer-songwriter, and she learned to play the piano when she was about 7. I begged because my brother played a song for her that was like a Beauty and the Beast. And when she realized that you can play something that others know, she was wowed, completely wowed. And I didn't know she could sing until she was in a show at school.
At what grade?
And belted. 6th.
Yeah. Wow.
Didn't even know.
Right.
And she belted.
My son was in 8th, and I didn't really know. I did and I didn't. I
knew she could
do
carry
something about this.
A tune because of the piano, and she loved to, play around and come up with her own songs. And so she had great pitch.
Yeah.
I knew she knew what was on key.
Right.
But this voice that came out of her.
She's so good.
And then she started like a YouTube channel. And I
Right.
told her, you can't use your last name for safety.
Right.
And so that's how she became Emma Jayne. I mean,
Right.
that's what she uses for music.
I love that. You're so funny. You're so cute. Oh my gosh. Well, clearly, if you wanted that voice, you gave it to her. You've got it, and it's called
It's in
Emma.
their gene. It's in
Emma
their genes.
Jayne.
Yeah, it's in their genes. And Quinny makes granola. I mean, the other thing I don't do is cook, and she loves to cook.
Wait, is this a business? Because at this
Yes.
point, like your
Yes.
family are such pioneers.
She's 16.
She's 16,
Yeah.
and she's got a granola business.
Yeah, V.goodvegan. It's this vegan, gluten-free granola, and she sells it all over Chicago. And by direct order, she has a new flavor that just came
What's
out
the new
this
flavor?
week. It's strawberry and chocolate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Where
she
is this all made?
She
At
does
home?
gift shows. We have to use a special kitchen.
Right. You have to have
to
all
make it.
the
Yeah,
requirements.
it's like a cottage law.
Right,
that
right.
Up to a certain amount of bags she can make
Right.
at home with certain rules.
Your family lineage of women, and I come from a lot of women. It go like 5 generations on my mother's side. It's just women until I had my son Billy. He was like,
Our
"What?"
family is exactly the same.
Isn't that cool? On your mother's side?
Yeah, I mean, girl. Like our Thanksgivings were so funny that when my sister had my nephew Mark, it was like shocking. Shocking.
I asked my mother when my son and my kids are Jewish, my husband's Jewish, I'm Christian, but so his he didn't have a bris, but he had a circumcision in the hospital. And so when we brought him home, I said to my mom, who has three daughters and 8 granddaughters, and I'm like, Mom, does his penis look okay? Yeah. And she goes, what would I know?
We don't
from
even
a penis?
know. We don't even know.
Wouldn't know. So it's all girl. Well, I think your family history, I just really hope you write a book, because I want to know more about your
you're so
grandmothers
sweet.
right now.
You're so
I want to
sweet.
know about your trucker grandfather. I
Right?
really want to know about
My grandma took the business
Conrad.
over when he passed.
Of course she did.
Grandma
Oh my
did.
God.
I mean,
what was her
pretty,
stage name?
Mona Conrad.
Mona Conrad. I mean, come on.
Right?
So cool. It's just running through you.
She made personalized stationery that sat on her desk, and it said Mother Trucker. So good, right?
I mean, that's like a known thing now. I'm telling you.
So good.
So your mother started job sharing. Your grandmother started the phrase mother trucker.
There you go. There you go.
There's just so much.
It's like Forrest Gump.
Exactly. Okay, so I want to ask you a couple wonderful things. First of all, I love that you've combined all of your talents in beauty and fashion and styling and writing and public relations and your own personal story. And that's what you bring to Memory Circle. Oh, do you have a daily prayer?
I meditate every day. And I have found recently, whenever I think about what I'm asking for the most, it's just peace.
Right.
Really, right now. It's
Right.
sort of just that quiet feeling where I can just be quiet inside.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that word is just peace.
That's beautiful. Okay. What is the one thing people can do who are suffering from loss right now? What's the one thing they can give themselves? What will help them today?
Today, I think I've learned that the writing, if that seems intuitive to you, I think that imagined relationship has really created something beautiful, whether you need to release something that is not, feels incomplete or unresolved, or just feels like you need them there.
Yeah.
I feel like that imaginal relationship is something that is so special. So if you can figure out a way for that to come alive for you, I feel like that is really worked for so many of the people in Circle that I say that. But also find a community.
Right.
Where you can share, because there are so many people who are suffering from loss of all kinds.
Right.
And there is a group for everything.
Of course.
So reach out, even a quick Google of something near grief groups near me.
Through your church, through your temple, through your community center.
Or on Instagram.
Right.
Where you just type in #loss and see how other people are processing all over the world.
Right.
It's pretty incredible.
Right.
Or even going to an app like Calm or Insight Timer and putting in grief, a search for grief.
Right.
And just processing a guided meditation.
Right.
I mean, it's all there.
I will say that and I meditate daily too. And I will say the more I meditate and the more I pray, the more my Father comes to me. Mm-hmm. So you are opening your vessel.
When you get quiet, you can hear.
You can hear, exactly. And so you can really open up.
And I think the more we listen, I think I've become a better listener in this process as well. It's not really about my story so much. It's listening to others' stories. Right. And that's also, being the listener is also such a beautiful gift. It's that people, that you can hold space.
Give, and it's a gift to receive, for sure. I'm working on it too. It's really hard, but it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. What smell reminds you of your mom?
Oh, the beach, for sure. I mean, anytime.
The minute you smell the salt?
The second I'm at the ocean.
Yeah.
The second I'm at the ocean.
I will say that, like, literally I have the most beautiful spiritual relationship. And basically what you just said, imagined relationship with my dad. Like, I feel him. Like, I talk to him like he's there.
Mine is
I do
so
sometimes
new.
forget.
I think it's crazy, but I think it's
you had to grow up.
It's all happening in.
Yes.
It all happened after I sort of turned this
corner. You turned this new corner, and then suddenly you're feeling it, and which is exactly why, if people could try this, that they would feel more comfort more quickly, because if you do open yourself up to community and to meditation and prayer and staying quiet and all those things, all of a sudden, your phone is ringing and it's your loved one, and it's like, oh my gosh, they're here.
Like, I'm never surprised, and I'm always surprised at the crazy coincidence. I could be thinking of her, and I get behind a car on the highway, and her initials will be as part of the license plate. So it's also looking with new eyes. New eyes, exactly. Just being really open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always feel like it's something when your body feels it.
Oh, Cindy taught us that goosebumps are the truth.
Yes.
I mean, that just means that energy is there with you. And that's like, again, like when I'm like straight up in my dharma.
When you're 6 feet.
Yeah, when I'm taller.
When you're taller. So the Jersey Shore smell reminds you of your mom. And I want to talk to you about the things that you love the most, because this is the Love Speaks series. What season do you love the most?
Fall.
Of course you do.
Fall, for sure.
I'm
an October baby. So maybe it's that. I don't know, but fall, just crisp and sweater weather.
Sweater weather. You have the cutest sweaters. You have the cutest sweater on now. Is it vintage?
It isn't, but it says charmant, which is charm in French. And I love collecting charms.
And she has the charms of charms. I mean, she is the charm girl, and she's in her little tartan kilt. And I told her she looks 12. You look 12 in your cute glasses. I know, and your beaded bracelets that I think your children have made for you. And
we go to the bead store.
Oh, you go to the bead store. Of course.
Make memories,
right? Of course.
And this says, look, one says 444.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I want to ask before I continue on with this love thing? On your Instagram, and I've asked you this before, and I always forget, so I want to remember if you can share. I don't know if you can share. The initials, like I feel like it says I love you to the moon and back, but what is it? I am blah, 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 blah.
My father always signs, I love you more than the whole wide world.
Oh,
and everything forever.
I love you more than the whole wide world. So that's what it is.
That's a Gramsciism.
That's really cute.
Someday,
really cute.
Another thing my mom would probably have been horrified about, but I did get a tattoo of her signature. So I think I'll
let me
on
see.
My wrist.
I mean, and
it says Ellen.
Is it her writing that you took it from her?
Yeah.
Right. I love it.
So I think also, like, just figuring out ways. I think she'd be pretty horrified that I got a tattoo.
I don't think so.
I'll have to ask in the next session.
I have one right in the same spot. But I will say that my 8 nieces and my 6 nieces and my 2 daughters, I should say, and my mom and my 2 sisters we've talked about it forever to get my dad's initials in my mom's writing, because my mom has beautiful writing and put it there. No one's done it. I finally said, well, you're all not doing it. I just got my own tattoo.
Emma and I talk about getting I love you more than the whole wide world in my dad's writing, and he has stunning cursive. It's really beautiful. Yeah. And he's suffering dementia. And so I feel like it's an exploration of a different kind of loss.
Yeah.
But we have started to tell him stories about himself, which is also such a beautiful, my husband Alex said, you can be sad for what's missing or you can love what's there.
Exactly.
In this process. And so we keep telling him stories about, his crazy Mad Men days as an ad guy. And, we tell him things about himself that are beautiful. And sometimes he's like, oh, I remember that. And then sometimes he's so taken aback by
he probably cries.
Something beautiful and generous. He says, that sure sounds like me.
Oh, my gosh.
And I've written about all of these experiences now, and even taken to just joining writing groups and doing things with my writing that I've never done before that feel more memoir in spirit.
Right. When we were in circle, literally, around my father's bed, playing the Carpenters, all 17 or 20 of us, I think at one point it was all 20 of us, and with the little great-grandchildren, and I said, I want to write about this because this is the most beautiful passing that ever has happened, in my opinion. And so I do write about it. And so 4 years later, I did write about it in my book. It's a chapter.
Also being so present.
I was present
even in loss.
Yes.
To create a passing that's as beautiful as a birthday.
It literally, it really was.
It's something we should plan. Tell people what you want.
Right.
Start talking about it now with your family. That's another gift, so that you're not in the grief and the loss, that you're
not knowing what
circling
to do.
the not knowing.
Right.
Share it with your family.
Right.
And also, I think, of course, I'll forget the name of what it's called, but there's a kind of a writing that you can do where it's almost like how you want to be remembered in a more spiritual way. So like what you stood for, or charities that you worked on, or, how you want to be
really remembered
for what you did.
Right.
And not waiting for the eulogies.
Right.
But sharing that with your family. Like, just write about it and put it in an envelope.
It's all about writing. It's all about writing. Those will be the treasures that your children find and go, oh my goodness. It could be for anyone that, to find the treasure of the written word when someone is gone is magnificent. I have a friend that I write about also, Melissa, and she lost her husband very early on, and she has 3 kids, and she's raised them on her own and just does a beautiful, beautiful parenting, wonderful job. But her whole thing is, she says, I don't think about what I've lost. I think about what I can find. She is an explorer. She loves like old vintage things too. She creates this beautiful life, but it's all about not what we've lost. It's what we can find, because there is so much more to find. And that's when we really know love is speaking, right?
That's true.
Okay, so I've asked you your favorite show, West Side Story. I've asked you your favorite season, your favorite word that you love the most, that you seem to use.
It's the F-bomb.
Thank you. The F-bomb. I love it.
It's just like
your favorite.
With feeling now.
With feeling, with gusto.
Love.
So
it
takes
much care of so much.
It does. And then adding like E to it, or, blankery.
Yes. Big exclamation point.
Or stir, or whatever.
Exactly.
Like making it a verb. And,
whatever you need.
I think it is a verb. I don't know. Whatever. Making it a noun, making it an adjective, whatever. Okay. Favorite Jersey Shore that you love? Sorry, I have to make you choose.
Favorite Jersey Shore? I grew up going to Sandy Hook as a kid. That was probably like our first beach where we could be on our own.
Yeah. I read that blog. That was beautiful.
That was where my mom was that day.
Yeah.
But we always went to the beach club, and she grew up in Deal. So we ended up in that neck of the woods.
Right.
Because she grew up there.
Right.
So, I have I love Asbury as well. I sort of love the old-timiness of Asbury.
And Asbury Park is coming back.
Yeah, and she went to Asbury High. So I know there's some
that's so
feeling.
Cool.
Yeah, and we went there growing up a bunch.
Yeah.
We always used to go
Do you
to the
like Bruce
carousel.
Springsteen?
Oh, please.
I mean,
of course.
Like, it's like, please. Like, I thank him in my book.
I love
for
that.
just being him.
I love that. Well, You know, one of the books I wrote is called Jersey Girl.
I know. I thank New Jersey in the book for giving us Bruce Springsteen. I stand corrected.
That's so lovely.
Go ahead.
That's so lovely.
So you wrote the book Jersey Girls,
and
which I
you know,
loved.
it's a love letter to New Jersey. I wrote it with Marie Moss, and it was just something that we felt so strongly about when, you know, the show Jersey Shore came along.
Oh, right.
We called BS on, you know, Snooki coming from Poughkeepsie and them not
so
really
BS.
know what was going on.
So BS. My mother's name is Snooki from the day she was born. They called her Snooki, so we call her the original Snooki.
The original.
Of the Jersey
OG.
Shore.
Yeah,
the
we
OG.
love that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, total bullshit. My dad gave us the Bruce Springsteen, the first album, when I was 10. My sisters were 14 and 16 for Christmas, and we hated it. We're like, what is this awful music? And then, of course, we fell in love. So, yeah, like we think Bruce Springsteen is our brother.
The Bruce sightings growing up, also, it was so much fun. Someone would say, you know, you'd be on the beach, and they're like, oh, we hear Bruce tonight is going to pop up on the such and such stage. And you would, you know, run to find out if he was going to be at the Stone Pony or where he was going to be, or if he was like playing in someone's softball game. It was like all about the sighting. And
that shit happened.
It did. And our babysitters, when we were growing up, he played at the school dance, like before he was who he was.
Yeah, he played at the Main Point in Philadelphia.
Super cool.
Bryn Mawr. I was on the beach 2 years ago with my family at my sister's beach house, and there was a whisper down the beach, and it landed in us, and it was like, Bruce Springsteen's at the bookstore, because, you know, he wrote his memoir. And I didn't even speak to anyone.
You flew.
I literally
I can
ran
imagine.
2 blocks up the beach to the store, and I wouldn't leave for like 3 hours. He never showed up, but we were dying. I didn't speak to anyone.
I just left. It's still happening.
Exactly, the Bruce rumors. What do you love the most about yourself?
Ay, Sally Lou.
I'm getting deep.
I would have to say the greatest compliment that anyone could give me always has something to do with being a mom. So I'm pretty proud of the way that I mother my girls.
It's beautiful.
And I feel like that's really when I'm in touch with my mom.
Yeah.
Because I learned it from her. The best parts.
Yeah.
I mean, the world is such a different place now. I mean,
Right.
like to throw social media out the window some
I
days.
know.
Although,
For
you know,
all it's good, it's got some really bad stuff.
It's hard. I just wish that the kids didn't have to live with it so much or be
Right.
so connected to it.
Right.
But yeah, there's so much good, you know, that can come of it.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I would say
That's
I would say
beautiful.
that.
That
I
must
once
be-
told Nate that someone was a weird mother. It was like, that's the meanest thing I ever heard you say. So, you know, I think that it's very connected,
funny.
to what I admire about myself. And I think also how I mother friends. You know, I just think
I feel so much warmth when I'm in your presence. I don't feel like you're mothering me, but I feel like I would just like to be on your couch and just talk for like 4 more hours.
I love that. I love that. I'll take that as something I'd be really proud of.
Well, we started this, now I'm thinking about it, as vulnerability as being like a warm blanket, but you have a sense of yourself. Like, I feel like you went to high school with me. I feel like I know you. I've always felt that way. You remind me of a couple of my friends, Andrea and Diane, who they remind me of each other sometimes. And so there's something about you.
Well, that's also like a no accident we met either,
totally,
right?
That feels very right to me. And that, I will say, is the greatest compliment you can give anyone. You feel right to me.
That's so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
I'll take that one home.
Thanks for being vulnerable with us about loss. Anything else you want to say? Tell us where we can find you, where we can find you. I'll post all of it. But
TheMemoryCircle.com, where I'll upload all writings and all podcast episodes and anything that's upcoming, events that are upcoming.
Right.
And at The Memory Circle on Instagram. I mean, it's really the 2 places where everybody can find what's going on nearby. But we're starting to travel. People are asking us to come. So we're on the road. We have a Florida event. So to check in.
Good. So I was going to say what's exciting you right now, but it sounds like that could be it.
We are splitting a little bit of time, so I get to be back east in New York a little bit.
What is that all about? Because I want to know when I can do it, because you're in Chelsea.
You're so funny. My husband, Alex, works for a startup called Overtime. It's a sports startup. And so he, for a year, was the only sales guy. And so now, as the team is growing, his team is growing. He has to be there more. They're Brooklyn-based.
Right.
But just to have 1 foot back in the East Coast.
That's all I want. I want an apartment on the East Coast.
It's a postage stamp. And
my townhouse here.
It is just delicious. Yeah. It's just so, my energy changes when I'm there.
I mean, I get out at LaGuardia off the plane and I am like, literally, I have Lizzo playing in my head. Like, I don't even have to be listening. I'm like, I am here, New York.
So exciting. And also I think, I'm the most inspired right now by any art. Yeah. I spend a lot of time going to the galleries near our new place, and also in museums. I don't know why. I mean, I always enjoyed it, but now it's like really where I find inspiration.
Your favorite borough?
Quiet inspiration.
Your favorite borough?
I'm a Manhattan girl.
All the way.
I mean, I'm such a Manhattan girl. I mean, I dig Brooklyn, and I love finding anything that's like new and next. Sure. I would say that's like, especially when I worked at the Tribune and Chicago Magazine. I mean, that's always been, and even in public relations, I mean, that's always been my thing.
You're a hunter.
I mean,
you want to see what's next.
I do. Like, I can walk a whole gift show and like report in at the end what I gather is new and next.
You can see what the one-of-a-kind item is through all.
I love it.
You find the treasure.
Trend. I love trend hunting.
You are. Is there something happening that's on trend right now besides the fact that we are wearing our paperclip chain necklace? Shout out to Jill Albert's Jewelry, where I work 1 day a week, and you are wearing it. And now I feel like we are so on trend.
We are. This is from a company called Foundry in New York, and Beth used to work at Cynthia Rowley, the founder, and it was somewhere where they did public relations. And I ran into her at the store, and again, I was like, are you kidding?
Right.
Like I popped in and saw all this stuff that she was doing where it's like all based in making memories and lots of spiritual stuff. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put that on there too.
It's a good visit.
Email me that link.
Yeah, the store itself is just, it's a beauty. She does book loans. She has like big library shelves and book loans. And I just love all indie businesses and people that are doing something
from their spirit.
Yeah, and you can feel it when you walk in, when you want to know what's the story going on in here. When you can sense that feels good.
You can feel the environment that sucks you in and pleases all 5 of your senses.
Yes.
Hang out in those places.
Travel does that for me also.
Travel for sure.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy New York. I hope to see you in New York. You can come to some events I'm having in New York, and I'd like to come to your events in New York. So let's do both cities.
Yeah,
Chicago and New York.
Circle up.
Circle up. I cannot thank you enough for being here, Barri, and sharing your beautiful message of hope. That is for sure. Loss is inevitable. We all are going to go through it, and we will all sadly die. Mm-hmm. And so live life to the fullest and talk about it with the people that you love now, so that you can have that. So you don't have to have that conversation and stress when it happens, because it's going to happen.
Truth.
Let's do it the way we want to do it.
Yes.
I love it. Yes. Thank you, Barri Leiner Grant. And the Memory Circle is changing the way we grieve. So thank you.
Thank you.
I have loved speaking with you today, and I want to speak with you more. So follow me on all of my social platforms at Live Love Speaks on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you want more stories like the stories we speak here on the Love Speaks series podcast, go to lovespeaks.com and pick up a copy of my new book, Speak. Love your story, your audience is waiting. To step up your speaking game and your human game. Check out my blog while you're there.
Sally Lou Loveman is a mom, speaker, author, former audience producer for The Oprah Winfrey Show, and founder of Love Speaks. Each week, Sally Lou and her crew have a conversation about how love speaks in their lives and how it can speak in yours. From kindness to composting, no topic is off limits. If you need a community to kickstart your heart, you need the Love Speaks series.
Thanks for listening. Your Love Speaks.